moving on, this maybe the next, are you gonna talk, can we talk about the Macon County Public School?
Yes, and that was what I was bringing up this slide from as I said earlier, we had, and glad to have Dr. Baldwin and Chairman of the school board, Mr. Green up here on this. So, of course, Mr. Bell, he's been here for many years. Glad y'all came. And I just like to say, Dr. Baldwin, I appreciate you working with me throughout this, and it's been a pleasure sitting down and working through this with you. As you can see, Macon County schools are a top priority for us as well. 21% of our total budget, when you look at it as a collective, goes to schools, and that's inclusive of current expenses, supplements, solid waste fees, capital outlay, and debt service. 21% of our general fund, when you take all those pieces and put them together, is going toward the Macon County school system in the county. The proposed budget this year leaves the school operating expenses at $7.3 million. That is representative of a $200,000 increase that the board put in last 7.1. The school systems had also, the school had also requested that we provide $409,000 for the technology refresh. And we understand in looking at that and speaking with Dr. Baldwin, the need for these digital textbooks, it's definitely coming. I mean, the time's here for the school system. And in recognizing that and understanding that need, we're currently in 12-13, this board appropriated borrowed $1.5 million to go to a technology refresh that would keep the schools current for 5 years on their technology needs. And we all understand what happens when you put stuff off and put stuff off. It starts backing up. And so currently we're paying every year $309,000 on that principal and interest on that loan amount. That loan amount is going to be paid off in 16-17, right? So when we pay that, that's representative of what we're taking on in our operating budget right now. So we absorb that $309,000. So and I recommended as this technology refresh is good for 5 years or close. At the time that debt rolls off, then we freed up that $309,000, and we've already absorbed that cost. So at that time, I think to keep it from bottlenecking again. As I stated in my budget message, we should begin providing that $309,000 for the continual technology needs of the school system to keep them current. So that was not included in there in the budget, and I read capital at $99,035, and that again is representative of the amount that was provided to the school in fiscal year 13-14. So that kind of sums up a little bit about the school's budget. We're glad to have you gentlemen here and not about the board.
Thanks, Mr. Manager. Chairman, Commissioners. As Mr. Bell said, his top priority is education. I know that based on what this commission has done for Macon County Public Schools, I believe that it's also one of your top priorities as well, as it is mine and managers. A few weeks ago, we presented you a budget that was based on the state's planning law for public schools, the Macon County Public School System, as well as the governor's proposed budget and its impacts on that proposed budget. Then this week, we received the Senate's budget proposal, and I'd like to discuss the impacts of that budget with you today a little bit. We requested $7.8 million. As the county manager has indicated, he has recommended y'all fund it at 7.3. The Senate's budget is going to have an impact on our budget of about $700,000. The Senate has recommended cutting teacher assistant allocation for the school systems across the state by about 50%. That equates to $700,000 for the Macon County school system. Basically, the Senate has told us to eliminate for the Macon County school budget 14 teacher assistants, 1 custodian, and 2.5 initially licensed teachers. That is a significant impact on our budget. That's a significant impact on the program that we're trying to provide for the students of Macon County. Without those funds, we're going to be in a pretty serious.
And Chris, I think what their proposal is to keep the teacher assistants in kindergarten and first grade only, right?
That is the Senate's proposal. That's going to have a significant impact on us because with reversions in the past 7 or 8 years, the state has also given us the flexibility to use teacher assistant funds for other priorities. What we've done for the past couple of years is we've actually reduced our teacher assistants in 2nd and 3rd grade and used those funds to pay for teachers and other things, such as custodians. So we really only have teacher assistants at K1 level now at Macon County. So a 50% reduction to our teacher assistants is going to go beyond teacher assistants.
Go back to last year. Initially, it came to us, well, actually, Dr. Duncan was involved in the beginning of that. And the board felt like to maintain your current level of services based on the losses and non-recurring revenues, et cetera, you needed something around $2 million, I think was the.
Yes, 1.9, I believe it was.
Yeah. And so in talking, we wound up putting an additional, as Derek said, we put an additional $200,000. I think you made the difference up by absorbing some positions. I think you went for your locally paid teachers from, I'm trying to remember, 52 down to about 35.
That's, I think it was 54 to 37, 38.
Okay. So in saying you sort of did that last year.
We Dr. Duncan put in place around $1 million worth of cuts. We've also, I think, with his cuts, we cut about $800,000. Since then, we've also cut an additional $800,000. So we're about $1.6 million less than what we were a couple of years ago.
But we don't. That budget's not a reality though until the House has got to pass it, the government can sign it. And we were down there this week.
This is just an FYI.
Yeah. We had some discussions with our legislators. Of course, Senator Davis is in favor of this Senate budget because he's on the committee to help develop it. I'm not sure the House is going along with the entire budget.
Nor the governor.
Nor the governor. Nor the governor. That's what we were told. So
I'm hopeful that they will not go along with that. Those teacher assistants are extremely important at the 2nd and 3rd grade level. We've not been able to fund them.
And just to summarize what that budget does, it actually, in theory, it's saying we're going to take away your 2nd, 3rd grade or wherever you've got those assistants, which we actually don't have any, because we've absorbed that before. They're saying that, and we're going to take that money and give everybody that's left a significant raise, which in Senate's case is 11.2%, average at about $5,500 in the whole year. They're moving money from one pot to the next.
What the real problem is, that's $4 million they cut last year. In addition to that, this is another $500 million cut. It's nearly $1 billion.
To our operating expenses.
That's exactly right. So you can't make that up on the local level.
Chris, we talk about your capital outlay.
If I can also, the other impact this thing has is that, we have 38 teachers being paid by local funds. So if we in turn have to absorb 11 point something increase, we have to pay that out of our balance also. So not only are they cutting teacher assistants, we're faced with an 11% increase for 38 teachers we have on currently local funds. But if that action is appears now, talking about takes place, am I right, Dr. Duncan? I mean, Dr. Paul, I'm sorry.
Yes. In addition to something.
In addition to something we have, then we're faced with 11% increase on those 38 teachers. We are paying from the funds that you give us.
And all this is just interesting discussions. We know
exactly
what happens.
But if it happens,
part of that discussion, if we're doing what ifs, if we give you guys flexibility on the 2% bonus, make it 1%, and you still got that option. If teachers on average get an 11% raise, then if you give them a 1% bonus, they're still way ahead of where they would have been with no raise and 2% bonus. Does that make sense?
It does.
So you've got that money available. Can I talk about your capital outlay, please? I guess this entire budget, all of it, all these line items, my biggest concern is schools capital outlay. And the reason exactly what, at one time or another, every one of us has said, well, why didn't we spend a little bit alone instead of doing it all at one time? I've heard all 5 commissioners say that on different things. I heard the manager say it twice today, that the technology is perfect example. Didn't do anything for a long time, not blaming anybody for whatever reason, didn't spend any money. It won't save anything. You're not fixing the roof that's leaking, but you're gonna have to fix it plus the stuff that's damaged by the leak. So that's where you are if you don't spend a little bit along. And historically, if you look back, if you go back into the 90s, early 90s, especially, the capital outlay budget was $500,000.
As year was 2006, I think it was around 10 grand.
I would say it was more than that. And I get that, because I was sitting where Mr. Rito was sitting for a lot of years. And we had old schools. We had Palisades, we had Otto, we had, Union we still have it. We had the old Cartooja School. We had all these old schools. And there was a lot of repair needed. Commissioners, even this current board, when you build new schools, now you've got done away with the old schools, you've done away with the high maintenance. But you have to start looking for these new schools. South Macon's 14 years old.
Let me say this, Cartooja this past week, week 4, lost all its air conditioning. That school was finished in what, 2003?
2002.
All right. And so we've got a repair bill right now for $68,000, which is going to our maintenance budget for this fiscal year into the red. And those people are setting up air rooms with no air in his phone. So there's maintenance costs. We think of Cartooja and South Macon as being up in the new school, but they're starting to cost.
And I even say it, we'll say our new schools. Our new schools, South Macon, 14 years old, you get to the point you're going to start replacing some carpet, you're going to have to start replacing. So if you don't put it in the budget a little bit along, then you're going to come to the point that in the early 80s, back when I graduated from college and came back here and actually our schools were in such a poor shape that the county ended up passing a bond issue just to paint and put carpet. And I'm just saying, I don't know what we can do there, but if you look at industry standard for maintaining a facility at 1 to 2% a year, in other words, if you have a $250,000 house, you'll probably spend $2,500 a year at least, and that's not if you have to replace the roof. But I'm saying 1 to 2% a year is what it takes to keep building up any building. If you guess that your buildings are worth $50 million, I'm ballparking, that's $500,000 to $1 million a year. Where the budget has been that in the past, significantly cut because we're building these new schools that are now getting some age on them. So I just don't want us to get. I'm not throwing a figure out. I'm not certainly not suggesting we put $500,000 in because we can't do that. But as you go through this, we've got. I know we've got a little bit of contingency money left. There's not much. If some of that could be used for some of these one-time expenditures, we could put a little bit more. I'm just saying if we could find a little bit more. I don't know how much. I'm not throwing a figure out. But that's my biggest concern. We're not saving the money, we're just putting it off. Because if a roof starts to leak, you don't have a choice to fix it. If heat and air goes out, you don't have a choice to fix it. So it's either pay for it a little bit along, which I think all 5 of us have said is a good idea for everything, or let's just keep putting $99,000 in there, which is a Band-Aid, and then 5 years from now, all of a sudden, we've got to have $2 million to fix X, Y, Z. So I'm just throwing that out there for all that.
Just from the usual formula, that would mean that, which I agree, by the way, that would mean that we would look for an additional, between $90,000 and $100,000 additional in capital outlay. That'd give you something to shoot at there. I mean, does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I'm not even suggesting a figure, but I just think we need to, as we look at this, if there's some more money, And I'll say for the record, Derek, you've done an outstanding job with this budget, in my opinion. You've met our goals, and I don't think we're suffering from services. I guess this is the one area, and I'm certainly not taking issue with you as far as that, but I just feel like we need to at least throw it out for discussion. If we don't do some of these repairs along, we're gonna have them all come at one time. It's happened before. Read back through the history of Macon. It's happened before. It's happened twice in my life. So,
Chairman, let's one thing.
Go ahead.
Thank you for your consideration. I'm still in Chris's thunder, but currently, for example, Jim, we have at our Macon Middle School, we have a system that any day can do exactly what Cartoogie J did. It is outdated. It's been there. Mr. Brown, how long is that
It's
system?
30 years old.
It's 30 years old. And on one wing, we have it where it's being held together by Band-Aids, and we expect it to go out any time. And it's the same figure we're talking about, over $60,000. I think 68,
I think, total again, on that.
As we get SEC's retirement to come in.
I don't think you do much on
We've
that.
got our unretired people.
Okay.
And so.
For example, what happened at Cartoogie J, and I'm taking all the time, our maintenance department looked at that, and sure enough, the expected license, expectancy on that system that they had installed was 11 years, something right, and it lasted 11 years. And it's gone. Or as it's something lucky. We also have our sewage treatment facility at Van Halen. And gentlemen, it is old, and if it goes, for us to maintain school there, we have no option. We have to fix it. And we figured that was, I'll be a little bit less, but some figure 130,000. So we appreciate, I guess I'm having that, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your consideration about that. We have ongoing needs that we are going to be faced with in very, very quickly.
in an ideal world, you set aside enough money to systematically replace roofs, to systematically replace heat and air. That's not been the way we've done. We've done it as things have broken.
I understand. Right.
But you at least got to have money there to do that. And I frankly don't think that's adequate to do it, Mr. Manager. So I'm not going to miss your figure, but as you go through.
If I could, Mr. Chair, and Dr. Palmer, if you have any,
That's it. I appreciate your consideration.
Mr. Baldwin, let me just ask you one question. One of the caveats to this raise, of course, is the sacrifice of tenure for your employees. What is their feeling about that?
The employees,
To get the raise, you have to sacrifice the tenure.
Correct.
well, obviously they don't want to give up anything to receive a raise. They would like to receive that raise based on the merits of their job performance. And I think that their job performance does justify that raise without giving up anything to receive it. And I think that's probably a feeling that you find across Macon County.
If it stays that is, we never did hear a number from you. What impact, how much money would you need? If it stays just like it is, $450,000?
What's that?
What was it, did you have a number?
That the Senate's budget's going to cost us about $700,000
$700,000.
to operating expenses.
Well, not cost you, and actually you having to pay it, it's going to cost you in loss.
We'll lose $700,000 in funding.
And that's to maintain exactly what we have to crank up
Correct.
school in the morning.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, real quickly, in recognizing that need and speaking to that a little bit, and it's very interesting. If you look at the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners on their website has a graph that, as you look, you see the state pulling back money, how the counties over time their roles switched from capital expenditures to operating expense. And it's really interesting to see how these capital contributions went down while operating increases have went up. But we had voted, the board voted before this fiscal year in February to appropriate $500,000 from fund balance in the 14-15 fiscal year. Before and going into the budget, before I even started, I used that figure, that $500,000, and ran a calculation as to, based on our projected expenditures for the year end 13-14, what that would do to fund balance, and it's $28.5 leaves it about 28.5 to 28.8%. It's been a long time since I did that, so I can't remember. That's, we're right now at 29.03%. So you're talking about 0.3%. If that whole $500,000 had been appropriated. As I said before, we were able in this budget process, and thanks to all this hard work in the department, we were able to get and some debt we had go off. We saw an increase in sales tax revenue. We were able to absorb $133,458 of that $500,000 that was voted on to be appropriated from fiscal year 14-15. So, in doing that, that's $133,458 that's there. It of course is going to slightly decrease our fund balance, but it's still, it's not anything. It's 0.5%. It's still basically flat in a $45 million budget. So that is there. And maybe some of these capital expenditures, these replacements, that's again a textbook fund balance expenditure. And so that would be an option.
It's already been appropriated.
I'm just telling you, that would be, if the board's fine with that move, because as of right now, I couldn't get that money I don't feel like out of the departments, because I feel like that the county departments have,
Well, that's the reason we have these budget workshops, so these ideas.
Right.
And you can take that back and work with them and bring us back something on Juneteenth.
yes, sir.
I don't tell you how to do that.
Yeah, I just that'd be where
That's why you sit in these black chairs.
that's the brush pile. I'm gonna try to beat that right out of
If we're in a good spot, I think we need to take a break.
I think so.
A little bit. You guys stick around, it's time for you guys to both focus on that board. Please, we got something more interesting to understand that. We'll break.